We got some state of the art stuff. I think that's what he's about to say. Go ahead. It's
Yeah.
about to wrap.
Well, actually, I got about there's at least four more pages of this.
Oh well, we don't have to finish it, but I think he's going to talk about the state of art equipment. He's like, our stuff is better than everybody's. Do you see any of that?
Yeah, we'll widely introduce the latest technology to ensure high quality standards in the Army and Navy. We have corresponding pilot. Oh, well, this is actually the next paragraph. We have corresponding pilot projects and samples of weapon and equipment in each area. Many of them are significantly superior to their foreign counterparts. Our goal is to start mass production. The work is underway and is picking up pace. Importantly, this relies on domestic research and the industrial base and involves small and medium high-tech businesses and implementation of the State Defense Order. Today, our plants, design bureaus, and research teams employ experienced specialists and increasing numbers of talented and highly skilled young people who are oriented towards breakthrough achievements while remaining true to the tradition of Russian gunsmiths, which is to spare no effort to ensure victory. I hate things phrased like that. We will currently strengthen the guarantees of our workforce, in part concerning salaries and Social Security. I propose launching a special program for low-cost rental housing for the defense industry employees. The rental payments for them will be significantly lower than the going market rate, since a significant portion of it will be covered by the state. The government reviewed this issue. I instruct you to work through the details of this program and start building such rental housing without delay, primarily in the cities that are major defense, industrial, and research centers. Colleagues, as I have already said, the West has opened not only a military and informational warfare against us, but is also seeking to fight us on the economic front. However, they have not succeeded on any of these fronts and never will. Moreover, those who initiated sanctions are punishing themselves. They sent prices soaring in their own countries, destroyed jobs, forced companies to close, and caused an energy crisis, while telling their people that the Russians were to blame for all of this. We hear that. What means did they use against us in their efforts to attack us with sanctions? They tried disrupting economic ties with Russian companies and depriving the financial system of its communication channels to shutter our economy, isolate us from export markets, and thus undermine our revenues. They also stole our foreign exchange reserves, to call a spade, tried to deprecate the ruble and drive inflation to destructive heights. Let me reiterate that the sanctions against Russia are merely a means, while the aim is declared by the Western leaders. To quote them, is to make us suffer. Make them suffer. What a humane attitude. They want to make our people suffer, which is designed to destabilize our society from within. God, good rip. We deserve that. We deserve that gut punch. We really did.
And that's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good. The parts that I really wanted to that jump out to me are they talked about the longer range missiles thing. And so he's like, y'all, if y'all gonna develop these longer range missiles, then we're gonna respond accordingly.
Yeah, we're gonna push farther in so we can reach you.
Yeah, so if you
what that paragraph said to me.
Yeah,
like, you want to build long range missiles? Well, that just means we're going to have to get closer to you,
and we're going to respond accordingly. So that should be alarming to anybody, that is concerned about the escalation of this situation and others being involved. And how keeps mentioning how.
To let you know, we're only about a third of the way through here.
Yeah, we can wrap it on this and come back to it. Keep that, whatever you have, that transcript, so we can. You're gonna be on tomorrow.
Yeah,
and we'll read some more of it tomorrow, because it's almost 3 a.m. now. So, but and then the parts where he was talking about the United States and the money that we spend, that part was another part that jumps out to me. And he's like, y'all spending all of this money, but what about y'all's people? Like, y'all's people are suffering,
Okay, so I just sent you the link of the page I was on in case I left it, in case I lost it.
okay, cool, cool. So then I'll have it. It's on
Because
Facebook
because
Messenger.
this, yeah, this somehow came out as the transcript came out as a pop out. I do not remember how I got it.
Okay, cool. So if I got it in the messenger, then I could pull it back up.
You might can figure out how to do it. Yeah. I wish I could do a link to exactly where we are. Okay.
So
Colleagues. Okay. The last big break I remember was colleagues. I can find it again after Glenn. I can find the spot again after we get through it a little bit.
yeah, and I'll rewatch the video and figure out where we stopped and
Yeah,
jump in.
I might go back a paragraph or two, but I'll be pretty darn close.
Yeah. So yeah, so like what parts of it that jumped out to you? Like I like how he's taking care of his people as far as, the veterans and stuff and the families of the veterans, the families of the people. I
Dude,
really
man,
like that.
I wish. Well, he did kind of learn that from what we were doing with our veterans. I mean, but yeah, it seems like he's developed a new depth and width to their system, which is going to not just focus on them, but the families and actual mental health better than we do ours.
Yes. I like that. That sounded great. Um the other parts was like um what did he say? Um Damn it, I'm losing it. It's so much and I'm getting tired. But uh freaking what did he say? The parts about um the oh yeah, the improvements. So you know what's happening as a result of this, it's really causing them to be stronger militarily as a result of this whole thing, because I'm sure that they wanted this to be wrapped up quickly, and that's
Mm.
what I was saying in previous
But
shows. But
look at the last 100 years. The losers of the war come out stronger than the winners.
So, and I think that they are growing and strong militarily. He was talking about their equipment and then the training, and so it's like the whole point of the West is to weaken Russia, but it's having the opposite effect. And the same thing with the talking about the sanctions hurting the West more than hurting Russia. It's like
Take a look at the history of warfare. A country at war, their technology advances far faster than a country at peace. Historically,
yeah, it happens every time. And so then they're militarily they're becoming stronger. They're becoming more consolidated as a result of the sanctions,
we'll
and
see. Their technology is going to come up equal to ours. Then it's going to start another friggin' numbers game again.
it's gonna arms race again, and then that's scary as
And
hell.
now China's involved.
So that's
And
that's so scary.
if they decide to go to Taiwan, what you think's going to happen there? Who you think is going to be sending them money?
Yeah, and I could totally see Russia backing up Taiwan, and
Russia, China having the whole freaking east coast of freaking Europe to run the entire control of the South China Sea, where 80% of the world's freaking shipping goes through.
hmm, talking about a
We're,
problem with
we're,
the
we're, we're, we're pissing off the wrong people right now.
right, and it's gonna have economic even if it doesn't break out into like some kind of full war, it's gonna still have economic repercussions for the
Remember,
West.
I was talking about all this stuff back when everyone was calling me a Trump lover for just mentioning it.
Yeah. So, and and the other part that I wanted to highlight was where he was talking about protecting the children, and I think that if our media would cover this kind of stuff better, I think a lot of the right, especially here in the United States, will be on board with all of that stuff that he was saying. Um, the stuff about the
Un-
pedophilia and the
Unfortunately, as we all know, they're all bent over a barrel, greased up, holding their cheeks apart.
getting ran up in, and
They
that's
they done let that money fucking pay. Excuse me, that money freaking pay for them.
yeah. So then they're compromised, and so even their values that they stand on,
Say
they
what that song that came out 90s lap dance. If you
yeah,
haven't heard it, good look it up. I'll send you a link to it. I mean,
yeah,
talk about the politicians up in that. Hey, get your lap dance for free.
yeah. It's crazy. So, and then talking about how the where he was talking about the Orthodox Christian Church and holding on to their values, and I don't remember you saying it, but the part where he said like the marriage is between a man and a woman, and it's like they're in the West they're attacking the household and breaking up the household, and the structure of the home with with the mother and the father and the child, you know and like I say, I think that the right here in the United States would grasp onto that and really be supportive, I think, of those ideas, because that's the same things that they're saying over here. But in our media, they're not going to hear that from Putin. They're not going to hear that that's what some of the stuff that he's promoting or standing on or trying to protect. you know that was one of the main parts of it that really I was thinking about. That's the reason why I wanted to cover it, because hopefully on my show I can get some people to hear what Putin is actually saying, instead of the damn pundits and the talking heads chopping it up and repurposing it and twisting it around.
This guy, his speechwriters are as beautiful and as eloquent as Obama's were.
Yeah, this was a great speech. I was moved. I
And
was
I
moved.
believe him about as much as I do Obama's second term speech.
Well, there's definitely some truth in there,
I'm about 30-70 on his side about some of the stuff, but I have a lot of knowledge about Russia, Ukraine, Georgia, and stuff like that, personal interactions and knowledge that actually trumps a lot of this stuff going on. Not 45, but like ace in spades.
Well, just for a second, I mean, I don't want to go into a tangent on this, but what do you think about the parts where he was saying about the neo-Nazis controlling Ukraine? I made a comment on Instagram or something, and I got a lot of backlash about it. And they were saying that it's Russian propaganda, and that's his excuse for.
Part of it is, yes, but a lot of it's really a mixed bag here. And oh, there it is. The cat knocked it down. This is one of the things I knew that was going to come up. I have notes.
And the other part I wanted to touch on, I don't know if we made it to that part in the video or the speech, but where he was talking about how NATO is approaching the border, you know, of
Yeah,
Russia.
they're squeezing him in. They really are squeezing him in. And Biden is an absolute frigging ignorant jackass, because after we said we were not going to invite Ukraine into NATO, Trump pulled us out of NATO because we were paying 75 to 80% of all the funding for it. And when and again, feeding the military war complex, he pulled us out of that, and he said, you know what? We're not going to invite Ukraine in. We'll stand behind him. We're not going to leave them high and dry, but we're not going to invite. He didn't want them invited. He left. We left NATO. As soon as we go back into NATO, Joe Biden immediately, hey man, let's be part of NATO again. Hey Ukraine, we're here now. Why don't you guys come on over?
And
that's what started this shit.
And Trump was so.
The Russians were already feeding money and arms and forces to the separatist forces.
And Trump was so right on that topic with talking about America first. And it's like NATO is supposed to be these multiple countries who are, whatever they're trying to do. But then you got the United States funding
Russia.
Funding the whole fucking thing. So Trump's argument was, well, shit. Well, how come the rest of these other countries aren't putting in more money into this? Why the hell are we?
Why are we paying this high percentage based to our G? And he didn't even say all the money that we paid the most. He says, why are we paying the highest percentage of our gross national product? I mean, if we're going to pay 20% of our GNP into this thing, why aren't all of the rest of them doing it too? So, why is this person spending 0.2% of their GNP to NATO? Why is this one 1.2, 1.8? Why are we spending all of this?
And all of those other nations are supposed to be involved, and aren't all of those other nations supposed to be benefiting from this? This entity.
That's the whole idea, is to stop the spread of Russia and the kind of communism that they brought. And no offense, hey, I am not supporting Russia in a lot of things. I know the kind of country that they are. I know. But at the same time, they don't deserve to be kicked when they're down like this either. But at the same time, they should not be invading other countries and doing what they're trying to reclaim all of the original area that they had.
Yeah, but my argument with that is
since 2014.
Well, my argument with that is, even if that's true, why is that so important to us in the United States? It's that kind of thing is happening all over the world. Many other countries are doing that. So, but why are we focusing on this one specifically? Why do we want to put so many of our resources to keep this guy from expanding his territory if that's what he's doing? Why are we so concerned with this specific conflict? There's so many conflicts.
Why are we so concerned about the fact that America is doing it and not concerned about the fact that they're doing it?
Right. It's hypocritical. That's
why I'm against them, is they're doing the same damn thing.
Yeah. And so you it's the pot calling the kettle black, like come on, like, and human rights abuses or whatever. I mean, like, whatever list you want to put Russia on, you got to put the United States on that same list.
A couple of things I had noted about some of this stuff is, they said a neo-Nazi regime was put in place in 2014, but in 2019, according to polls and stuff and stuff taken, support for right-wing candidates was lower in Ukraine than most of the European countries. Vladimir Zelensky, he's Jewish. He's being accused of running a neo-Nazi regime. He's Jewish. He had family that died in the Holocaust. Most people don't know that. And I'm not going to deny the fact, very seriously, there are some serious screwed up right-wing groups. And part of the thing that tipped this over was this Donbass situation in the Azov region. There's an Azov regiment. It was a militia, and they formed because Russia was sending in money and separatists and stuff like that. So this Azov militia formed, and there's some serious asshole neo-Nazi groups. So what happened, and here's where they start blaming them of infiltrating the military. The Ukrainian government absorbed them into their military to recognize the things that they did. And that's where you hear the end of it. Now their military is infiltrated by Nazis. But what did they do? They broke that regiment up and repositioned them amongst other regiments. Well, they broke them up so they could not be a unified Nazi force.
Well, I was reading that a lot of those people were getting promoted into leadership positions. And the reason why is because the people were afraid of, retaliation.
That's something I really I have not been able to find or look into, is what happened. All I got to was they were not disbanded, but they were the problematic people were transferred and the unit was broken up.
And they ended up
mingled with regular.
And they ended up getting into leadership positions because.
But again, I didn't see that anywhere.
I was reading that.
It was because fair, that's also the very last thing on my list. I wasn't able to get past that particular. I would get to that next part. I just hadn't had time yet.
I was reading about that, and it was because there was pressure because of the violence that these are a small group. Like, that's a part that I want to stress that people don't really understand, but they're powerful because they use really violent tactics, and the use of these violent tactics gets people afraid. So that's how they use the pressure of their violence to get these specific people into leadership positions. So that's where you end up having a guy who's like, let's call him a neo-Nazi, as the head of a regiment. And maybe that regiment is not aligned with this guy's political ideology, but guess what? He's the one who's giving the orders. That's where you have the execution of freaking prisoners of war, and even civilians, because they're getting these orders from this guy who's an asshole, and who was basically put into the position.
And here we go to a little bit about following screwed up orders too. I mean, I'm just following the orders he gave me. Well, that's pretty something that I did not see coming.
And I make that argument all the time. I ain't gonna lie, but in defense of those people, because like we talk about the Holocaust and we talk about the SS divisions, and I think a lot of those guys didn't want to do the stuff that they
do what you're doing, or you're going to come to my house and I will be listed as a dissident, and then my family is going to be on the next train.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. They'll put a lot of those SS guys didn't want to do the stuff that they did, but they would catch a bullet, And, so like at the end of the day, it's really tough. Each individual got to make a decision. Like, am I going to just go along with this and protect my life and my family, or if I push against it, then my life and my family will be at risk. And no telling who was going to win the war. No telling what was going to happen in the long run. If you was on the wrong side. Once the war is over, then it's a wrap for you.
Well, that's also like most of these places that have had revolutions. Almost the very second thing that they do after killing, of course, all the previous rulers is to kill all the revolutionaries that helped them take power. Can't have
Yeah.
any competition.
And I talk about Haiti all the time, and the
Oh, that's a
guy
prime example of
of this.
killing
That's
all
why.
of that. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say, because the
Well, you help me
guy
take power. Yeah, here, have a machete.
Solanus, what is his name? Anyways, the guy eventually made himself the king of Haiti and like all of that. And this guy, I mean, like he helped with the revolution or whatever, but he turned on his people, and yeah, that was a situation where this guy killed off a lot of he uh, the let's call them the good guys, the ones who were really trying to free the people.
That's why every
He
time I
turned,
see someone in a Che Guevara shirt, I just want to sit there and go, dude, let's have a talk. Let's have a talk about your guy.
and it's sad that these guys end up changing. You know, they have good intentions, and they at the beginning, but then as the revolution goes on, and then once they win the revolution, then they change, and then they turn into the damn dictators. It's complex.
Dude, it's one of those things like I was a nerd growing up. I could have been one of the cool guys and all that stuff, but I moved around a lot. So I was always the new kid. I always got messed with. And I was one of those guys that's like, when I grow up, I'm not going to freaking bully people. I'm not going to be that guy and things like that. And that's what's happening. I'm seeing going on with the world today, especially the younger generation. They got picked on as kids and all that. They said, I won't be like that. I won't be like that. And now that social media gives them power, not only are they doing that, they're being worse.
Worse.
It's like now I can destroy you. It's like, but why? All these people are so busy trying to increase the quotient of negativity in the universe and wonder why they never get anything positive in their life. The only time they feel positive and uplifted is when they punch down and smash somebody.
It's fucking sad.
Every uprising has to be at the cost of someone else.
Yes.
You can't just be freaking happy.
You got to step on somebody. Let me read the caption underneath this. So just everybody who was listening.
And on the other side, I do love insult comics on the other hand of that. So, I'm a bad person.
if it's in the area of humor,
like
that's
Don
one thing.
Rickles, like roasts, stuff like that.
Yeah, if it's in the area of humor, that's one thing. But if it's in the area of trying to hurt somebody's feelings, like people commit suicide all the time as a result of being bullied online. Like I wrote a whole paper on that.
Here's a good one that I got just the other day that's got me in a big quarrel online. It was a quote about, atheism versus theology and stuff like that. And I said, I found that an atheist is often as fanatical as a theist. So the very first thing that pops up is, they both annoy, a theist and an atheist annoy me so much. And then it's a little meme. And then the response was, oh, so you found a way to become superior to both.
And I think the same thing happens with the vegans.
And I'm like,
They
well, wait a minute. I didn't say one was better than the other. I didn't say I was better. I just said they are both come at me with the same amount of fanaticism.
and the vegans do the same
Well,
thing, bro. It's
the next post was how well and it was added at me, and it's like you shouldn't put your law, your religion into our laws. You shouldn't have that say and stuff like that. And, blah, blah. And the next one was something like this and all that. It's like, but when did I say any of that? When did I say anything about religion? When did I talk down about anybody? One guy made a beautiful response about some people just don't want to hear about it anymore. And I made a response that's like, yeah, but I like a good conversation about it. Unfortunately, so many people lose their freaking minds,
and they
like
got
these guys up here, attacking me when I never expressed one way or another my beliefs. Just said both of them are freaking fanatics.
yeah, they get dogmatic and fanatic, and I
Oh,
swear the
you want to
vegans
piss off?
are
You want to
a
piss
good
off an
example.
atheist? You want to piss off an atheist? Tell him that atheism is a belief system.
Not,
As an academic, you have
it
to agree it is.
yeah, I agree. I
But
completely agree.
to discuss it in an academic, in a reasonable way,
It
it is
becomes
classified as
like
a
a
belief
religion.
system.
Let me read the
Oh,
caption.
oh, they hate that, dude. It's beauty. It's beautiful.
I
It's
want to read.
almost as good as explaining to them that IPA is actually a beer made so the East India Company could go down Africa and it didn't go bad, so they could trade it for slaves, and then watch these little hipsters drinking their IPA cry into their slave beer.
They they everything gets co-opted, and if you follow trends, then you're being manipulated. Let me read the caption and a couple of comments, and then we're gonna wrap it. So for the audience, we were reading the transcript from Putin's State of the Union address that he did recently,
That
and I
that that
thought that it.
time right there is about where we got in the speech. Actually, a little less than that. We were about
Yeah, I was trying
halfway
to
through, I
keep up.
think.
Yeah, I was trying to keep up because I watched this and I was listening with your reading. I remember all of it. So I was trying to put the video where we was at in the reading. So, anyways, the caption it says
I should have
President
kept with the accent,
Vladimir
man. That was
Putin.
fun.
I don't know. It probably would have made somebody mad. This show is watched all around the world. Let me read the
Like
caption.
I'm
It
like
says,
I'm not used to that, having gotten hacked twice because I pissed people off so far.
"Yeah, well, that's why I don't get that many views because people just want one side. They just want to reassurance of their predetermined beliefs, and that's not what we do here." So, anyways, the caption it says President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday vowed to continue with Russia's year-long war in Ukraine and accused the US-led NATO alliance of fanning the flames of conflict in the mistaken belief that it could defeat Moscow in a global confrontation. Flanked by four Russian tricolor flags, Putin told Russia's political and military elite that Russia would carefully and consistently resolve the tasks facing us. Putin said Russia has done everything it could do to avoid war, but the Western-backed Ukraine had been planning to attack Russia-controlled Crimea, annexed by Russia in 2014. And how long does this? My comment is,
Annexed, already taken by Russia in their war of expansion back in 2014.
well, one other comment that I did want to focus on that he said he was talking about that referendum that which region was that? That they did a referendum on their own to make the decisions about their future on their own.
Oh, the
And he said
Donbas region.
that that's very powerful.
It
Every
is, but you know
everyone
what?
has to respect that. If their own
But
people voted and they made
But
their own
people can't
decision.
respect it because the vote was done under an occupied rulership. It was done. Hey, the Russians came in. They took the region and said, "Hey, you guys want to vote to be free?" As their soldiers are standing on the corner. That's why people don't have confidence in that they freely voted to be free or be separate.
But it was already a civil war going on
No, no, no.
between.
Remember, it was a Russian. There were Russian-backed separatists involved in that.
Well, you can always say,
Russia was doing what America does. Look,
yeah,
this is what they're doing in that area. You cannot deny it. There's
yeah.
too much evidence.
I'm not
They're
gonna
doing the
say.
same thing that America does. They're destabilizing governments and they're moving in when they become problematic.
I'm not gonna say that that's not
They're
true.
even leaving Angkor, the one up there. They're leaving it open so they can attack other states and keep the region
But there
destabilized.
but for that to be successful, there already has to be animosity going on where this region had a problem with uh,
Oh, that's easy to create. It's easy to create animosity.
I don't think.
How difficult is it to divide people?
Well, I don't think they were creating animosity. I think that they were amplifying it, but I think that the animosity was there already.
Like I said, that's the same thing in America, though. The animosity is here. Media amplifies it. Social media amplifies it. Animosity, jealousy, bad thoughts. That is part of every civilization everywhere. Everyone believes that something else is going to be better than what I have, except unless you're like Elon Musk or one of those guys. They're
Let me
like,
read a,
I'm good. Life is good for me.
Let me read a couple comments underneath the video of this was the speech for in French. What was the website so people can know for sure? I don't want to go. France 24 English posted this. So you're not gonna get this stuff in the States. You're not gonna get none of this.
Yeah,
Let
the
me read a
link
couple
I gave
comments. The
you is
first one, it says,
the link I was using is actually the Russian website, if I'm not mistaken.
well, that makes sense.
Because
That's because we couldn't even find the thing. I
I
couldn't.
think it in I think it ended in .eu .ru
Yeah,
no. Yeah. En English .kremlin .russia
yeah. I couldn't
is the
find.
basic site.
I couldn't find the transcript for shit. Let me read the comment. A couple comments. It says, "This is not
I
a
surprised
translation."
myself.
This says, "This is not a translation. This is an interpretation of his words." Another comment, it says, "Thanks for letting us watch this important speech." Another comment, it says, "Every person who hears this will understand how lost we are as a country and how Putin has socially transformed Russia into what America was in the 1950s." Another comment, it says, "Putin says 150 words. Translator, yeah, she was not doing it. Another comment, it
Uh,
says, this needs to be translated into English and published verbatim. It's a scream." Yeah, so we just did that for you, John Mater. So watch our video. Look us
I,
up.
I I agree. I'm laughing at some of the stuff he said too, man.
Another
It's a political speech.
Another comment, it says, "This translator is missing entire sentences, not even translated correctly what is being said, and in some cases missing 10 to 20 seconds of words." Another comment, it says, "Russia sounds very confident. I mean that." Another comment, it says, "The translator definitely nailed his tone."
Hey, I tried to remain as
Translator
neutral as
was really
possible.
horrible. Another comment, another comment, it says, "I need a better translation of the speech." Everybody's on that. Another comment, it says, "Putin said that he would not consider using nukes until the existence of Russia was threatened. He clearly states that he feels the existence of Russia is what is at stake near the beginning of this speech. That is most important takeaway. Russia is getting serious now. This is going to get way worse." And I think
Okay,
that that's
I've
what
been
we
saying
need.
that for since he moved in.
And that's what we need to focus on, because everybody, they're acting like this thing can't escalate. And the United
This
States,
dude is nuts.
and he's not playing. So then
This
they're talking.
dude wants to create the honor and glory of old Russ. Kiev is a center point to that.
So if they develop missiles
That
that
is
can
the home of the
travel,
Russian Orthodox freaking church.
if they manufacture missiles that can reach Moscow from Ukraine, then what the hell do you think is going to be the result of that? What do you think the reaction of that is going to be? And how long until Russia just gets tired of this proxy war and starts attacking the United States?
Dude, everyone's thinking atomic bombs and nukes or thing. They don't understand. There's this thing called a neutron bomb. It doesn't do a whole lot of surface damage, but it does a whole lot of radiological damage
Right.
that dissipates within a few years. So literally, they will nuke you, everybody dies, and a few years later, they can, 10, 20 years, a generation later, they can come in and take the whole place over because it won't be harmful to anyone.
Yeah. And then you got other ways. They fight wars in different ways now, too. You can do like the EMT type deal where you can just knock out all communications, knock out all of the Wi-Fi, all of the internet, the electrical grid will be fried. And, what then? We'll be in the dark ages, um, it'll be easy to come in and
Ooh, check out a TV show called Revolution or something like that. It basically starts out with the premise that a big EMP wiped everything out, and it's about 10 years after that happened.
yeah, man. How long would it take for us to fix everything if all of that shit got fried? It would take a long time.
I know enough rednecks that cars would be up and running within freaking 12 hours.
Mm.
All you got to do is pop out the starters and the ignitions, replace them with new ones that didn't have any charge going through them when the EMP hit.
Good evening, my little one. I shall make you psychotic.
Mommy, what does psychotic